everyone, and welcome back to It All Starts With a Wish podcast. My name is Rachel.
And I'm Mark.
So we didn't post last week, and that's because we were in Disney World. But we're now home. And Mark is still sad about it. Sobs. And still sobbing. It's okay, Mark.
No, it's not.
We'll have to just plan another trip.
Go back. I don't want to go back to
reality.
You're
not the only one that wants to go back.
It's the worst part, honestly.
It snaps out of it.
The absolute worst part. Coming home. It's a little bit more bearable when you already have another trip booked, like a rebound trip.
Yeah. We don't, though.
We don't, technically. We may, but it's still unclear. But we may have a rebound trip. But it's much more enjoyable when you actually have a trip booked and you know, okay, I'm coming back in like 8 months or something like that. And you can say that with like certainty. Like it's a little more bearable. To not have something booked, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's real tough.
Quaharini.
Which means?
Go well.
Yes.
Because goodbye is... What do they say?
Goodbye is far too permanent or something like that.
Far too sad, far too...
No, I think it's far too permanent.
Yeah, far too sad, far too permanent. I think there's like two different things.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Regardless.
Anyways.
If you know what that's from, let us know. So, we're back, and this episode, and probably the next one, we may need 2 episodes to do this correctly. We'll see how we do on time here in this episode.
Yeah.
But we are going to provide you with our trip recap. How did it go taking a 2.5-year-old to Walt Disney World? His second visit, by the way, to Walt Disney World.
His second visit.
He's not spoiled at all.
No.
No.
Not at all.
But I am rejuvenated in a way for like the podcast and what we're doing here. I find that, you know, when you go and visit, right, sometimes it can get a little stale when you haven't been in a little while and you're trying to like think of what are good episodes, what are good things for us to talk about, what's good content for us to have. You get a little stale and you, not that you lose your creativity, but you gotta diminishes.
Refill your pixie dust.
Right, you need to refill the pixie dust, just like they refill the pixie dust of the buses. And, you know, it just jives a lot, so we have a lot of good content upcoming and some exciting things, hopefully, that'll pan out with some correspondence that we've been having, too. So, pretty excited about the months and weeks to come. I think there's going to be a lot coming your way, a lot of good stuff, and very happy to, you know, be rolling with that again.
Yeah. I definitely think it was a needed, you know, we've been so many times that we can definitely remember, you know, things and problems we had or, you know, frequently asked questions and all of that stuff. But when you go and you actually run into things that maybe we haven't yet, especially being with a toddler now, like traveling with one, you know, other questions come up of like, oh, I wonder if, you know, if we didn't know this, then maybe you know, other people didn't know this since we come so often. And it's not really a frequently asked question because it's a lesser known thing or tip or trick or something that we picked up during this last trip.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, before we get started, though, time for a dad joke. This one, courtedy of my brother. This one was pretty good. You ready for this?
Already?
You ready?
You're not even saving it for later?
I'm going to forget it if I save it, so I need to do it while it's fresh in my mind. You ready for it?
Yeah. I've already heard it.
What was Whitney Houston's favorite kind of coordination?
And yes, he said coordination.
Do you want to say it one more time?
Coordination.
Hand-eye.
Oh my gosh.
Hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination.
You're welcome. Overall thoughts on the trip, how it went, kind of just like general, like...
I think it went really well.
General thoughts.
I think it went really good. Not a lot of breakdowns from our toddler. A few in the beginning, but that was not related to the trip.
Yeah, not directly.
Not directly related. He just wasn't feeling well.
There were other problems. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But
and probably too much detail for everybody.
Probably. Else. But other than that, I think we did a lot of stuff. Could we have pushed a little bit more with him during the day and stuff? Yeah, maybe. But we did avoid, midday meltdowns and all of that stuff pretty well. Even after the first 2 days with our mini meltdowns that we had. And I thought we did a lot of, rides and attractions that he could and, couldn't go on. So we got to go on some that, he wasn't tall enough for, but we also rode most of the things that he can ride. So,
yeah, for sure.
It was definitely different for me. I don't know. It was just different. Not in a bad way. I still had fun, and it's more of a personal thing. I just don't think I was, as in the moment as I wanted to be, and I feel like this is a trend with me, especially traveling with extended family and stuff, that I'm just so worried that everybody is happy that I'm just not, in the moment myself.
Yeah, you're too worried about everybody else's happiness at the expense of your own.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. I was still happy and I still had fun, but I definitely could have been in the bubble a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But everyone else had fun, so that's good. That's what I was worried about, and it was fine. But yeah,
I always worry about that, and it's at your own expense. You need to stop worrying about that.
I thought we did good. I think we did a little too many breakfasts.
Enjoy it for yourself. I strongly disagree. I thought it was a perfect balance. 5 and 5, I thought was perfect. We did 5 breakfasts, 5 other meals, and I thought that was perfect.
But I feel like dinners were very up in the air most of the time. Because if we did one, I don't know.
Well, you don't want to do multiple reservations per day.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I feel like it could have been either just
Well, let's talk about the whole trip.
Well, what do you think overall?
We'll assess everything. I think it went very well, too. Okay. I agree with you. I had a very good time. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You didn't care about anybody else.
That's not true. I cared a lot about our son and his happiness on the trip. Well, everybody else was happy because our son was happy, and that's what I think you have to get in your mind, was that everybody's going to be, we're here for him, not for everybody else. So if our son is happy, then everybody else is happy. And so I was very happy because I think he thoroughly enjoyed the trip, and maybe we'll have an interview with him at some point. We'll get him on here, and he can tell us all about.
Yeah.
He did
a trip
and it may be
time.
A little more intelligible than the last time with. And now he can actually talk. So we'll. All
right.
We went from March 25th through April 3rd, Tuesday through the following Thursday. Lovely time of year to visit Walt Disney World. The spring weather was gorgeous. The first few days were absolutely perfect. Could not ask for better. 70s and 80s with no humidity. Turned a little bit hot towards the end of the trip, but overall,
you got that summer feeling.
You can't. Yeah, but not even still.
No.
It was worse. It was hotter, but it was not at all.
Not as humid.
Anything like what the summer usually is.
Yeah.
I did not feel like I could not breathe.
And we only hit
one
real rainstorm type thing.
Yeah, only one major storm affected us. And we'll
downpour.
get into that too.
Soaked.
But overall, and I was just watching something where they were talking about this, that since COVID, visitation trends have changed and parents are more willing and likely to take their kids out of school. So the summer, when it is ungodly hot, is becoming less of a visited time. And the winter, spring, and fall months are becoming more heavily visited, even though kids are in school. So some of the old traditional trends where people are like, don't visit in the summer because it's super busy, that's actually starting to change. And the summer's actually becoming a less visited time.
The thing I would think is still very true is school vacation weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're at good times of year.
And spring breaks. We caught the tail end of the spring break season.
Yeah.
At the first week of our trip, people really kind of... It
was busy.
The last leg of it, but it was not as busy as, I want to say, the middle of March is.
Oh, yeah, no.
When colleges and everybody's on spring break, usually those middle few weeks of March. I think it was the right play avoiding those weeks and pushing it
the last week into April.
Yeah. And we missed this weekend this past weekend when this posts, we missed one of the Run Disney events.
Yeah.
So that would have also made it quite busy and difficult to navigate. So we kind of timed it perfectly, I feel, with selecting that last week of March into the first week of April. So Tuesday, March 25th. We'll go way back in the way back time machine. Something that seems like months ago and yet also seems like a moment ago.
Yeah. It feels like forever ago, honestly.
It was an early morning for us.
It was really early.
But that is how I like it.
Very, very early. Like 3:30 early.
Yes. The car that picked us up to take us to the airport was coming at 3:30, so I think all of us got up at 2:30 or close to 2:30, 2:45
somewhere around there,
in that area. Our son was right up and at it for some reason, thought he was going to sleep through that whole process. He did not sleep until he got on the plane. So he was wide awake at 3:30 in the morning and ready to go.
He even said the word confused. Mark was like, "Are you confused, buddy?" Because he had this look on his face, like his eyebrows were like knitted together. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm confused." Yeah, because what is happening? It's the middle of the night. We're supposed to be sleeping. Or when he does usually wake up like that, we're telling him to go back to sleep. So he's like, "I don't know what's going on, but they're putting me in a van and we're heading to an airport."
In a strange van I've never been in
a
before.
Strange big van with a strange person.
Yep, driving.
Yeah. But it was a good ride in, quick.
This is why I like that early in the morning. I like to be the first flight out. I think in a lot of ways it does a lot for you. If on your travel day you're booking, and we'll do an episode actually, I want to do an episode on maximizing your travel day.
Yeah.
So that'll come out soon. But if you want to maximize that day when you're traveling and you want to diminish the chances of flight delays and stuff like that, getting that first flight out at like a 6 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m., it's the way to go. The plane's already sitting there at the airport, so it's less likely for there to be a delay because you're waiting for a plane to arrive or get cleared out or something like that. As long as the weather is good, hypothetically speaking, you shouldn't really see any delays. You can usually get into the major cities that airports are located relatively easy that early in the morning before rush hour traffic and stuff like that. Get in, get on your plane, get to Orlando. And the Orlando airport, usually when you arrive, is not super busy either. So it's a good time to travel.
Yeah. And everything went smoothly through the airport, the flight. Our son slept at least half of it. He did get tired, but then woke up for like the last leg of it. But no real screaming. He didn't like the seatbelt. I think that just has to do with him not liking to be restrained in any form.
He's a free spirit, man.
Yeah. But it went really well. I was expecting, more tears, more tantrums, but really just getting through the seatbelt sign and getting through all that. But it was great. And then we didn't wait that long either for the Mears transportation.
No, when we arrived in Orlando, it was really... that flight, first off, was one of the smoothest flights I've ever been on.
It was very smooth.
Like, I don't think...
It didn't even feel like you were in a plane.
We hit very little turbulence when we were going in for the landing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, landing.
Like, the last 30 minutes, we had very little turbulence as we were starting to descend from 30,000 feet. But overall, that flight was as smooth as pudding.
Okay, Cars reference.
You like that?
Yeah. The flight home we'll talk about was smooth as pudding, huh?
No, not so much. But we got our luggage very easily, and Mears was a little bit of a wait.
A little bit, but I wouldn't say, I've heard a lot longer.
Yeah.
Of waiting a lot longer.
We may have waited 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops.
It was enough for our son to have a snack and run around for a little bit. And then we were back on another bus. So it's a lot of days, a lot of sitting.
It does feel not as smooth as when Disney used to run it, but it still
and it feels weird because it's like you're all just kind of together and there's no aisles anymore of like separating.
Well, so in the terminal that we were in, we flew JetBlue.
Oh, yeah, that's different.
So we
don't
were
have
in
that
Terminal C, which is different than the main terminals.
That's right.
So I think it's still kind of set up similar.
Yeah.
It's just that this new terminal is a little different. But overall, I thought the experience was pleasant, easy to find where we needed to be. Like, that was not an issue at all. Waited a little bit, but not too long. And then we arrived to Disney around 10:30 to 11 o'clock-ish, which is, again, this is why you travel at that time of day.
Yeah.
Get in there early. You have pretty much a whole day ahead of you if you get in
Well,
early.
especially if you're not that far away.
Right.
If you're a 2-3 hour flight away from there, then that's kind of the time frame you're looking at. Obviously, if you are further than that, plan accordingly, I guess,
Yeah,
when
maybe
you
a
want to
little
get
bit
there.
later,
but yeah, it was right around lunchtime, and we got in, and our room was ready.
Yes, it was.
Your parents' room was not.
Correct.
So we were able to just kind of leave our stuff and their stuff in our room, not fully get settled in because they didn't have, their room
That was
yet.
so nice when the room was ready.
Yeah.
You just hope
It was literally
for that.
like as we were walking off of the Mears bus, right?
It
was
was.
like they knew
As we were
there.
getting off the Mears bus, we got the
The
notification.
tag. You're like, our room's ready.
And our room was in the perfect location. We had requested close to my parents, and we had requested close to the elevator, and we were literally the door, like right off of the elevator. So
set
it was,
of doors off of the hallway. Yeah,
it was
so
perfect.
We walked right to our room. You could see the room from the elevator.
Could not have asked
Yeah,
for
so
much
that was
better.
really nice, especially because those hallways at the beach club, which is where we stayed, if you didn't know that, tend to be very long.
Yeah.
If you stay on one whole end of the other one. I don't know. I like kind of being separated from the elevator, though. I feel like it's kind of cool, like walking away. But it was really nice in the morning where you could just hop right on.
Super convenient.
And go right down and not have to waste all those steps that you're already walking a bajillion
And I like
steps.
that, just being able to go right in, have the room ready, be able to unpack, get stuff situated, make yourself feel comfortable in the room before you go out and do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did. We grabbed some lunch, and my parents' room was ready too.
Yes.
When they got there, they did not stay at the beach club with us. They stayed at Pop Century. But when they got there, they did not do the online check-in, but they went to the desk, and their room was ready. Mm-hmm. And it was great. So they
note that doing online check-in,
Yeah.
though, and selecting before 3 o'clock is going to give you a better chance than risking.
Yeah. They just kind of risked it. But if your room is not ready for whatever reason, even if you do online check-in, I mean, we did online check-in the last trip, and we waited for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't really guarantee anything. It just makes it a little less likely that you have to wait. But you can always leave all of your stuff at,
Bell services.
I want to say baggage claim. That is the airport. Bell services. And they'll hold it for you. And then when your room's ready, they can bring it up. And you can just go to the park or go to the pool, or, you don't have to stop and just wait for your room to be ready. What did we even do that first day? Went to Disney Springs.
Yeah, we went to Disney Springs.
And
so
we
after
lost my dad.
We got situated. We went to Disney Springs. We rode the bus over. Your parents met us. Your parents stayed at Pop Century.
Yes.
So Rachel's parents were at a different hotel. They took the Skyliner over to the Epcot entrance and walked over to the beach club.
And then
This
we
was
all
in
got
very
on a bus
close
together.
proximity, and then we got on a bus over to Disney Springs.
They could have just met us at Disney Springs. They wanted to do the Skyliner just to figure out the route to the beach club and to Epcot and all that stuff, so they knew if, for whatever reason they wanted to come over there and hang out with us, they could do that.
Yep.
So that's why they chose to do that time. But yeah, we went to Disney Springs and we had our first dining reservation.
We did, but we lost your father first.
We did. So my dad went to the bathroom.
Folks, I just want to say, communication is key. And this was a lack of
Okay,
communication.
so my dad went to the bathroom when we first got there. And if you're familiar with Disney Springs, if you walk in to its main entrance where the buses drop you off, if you go to the left, you're going to be going into that, covered area where there used to be, a fountain and there's just shops and stuff. So we were going to wait for him outside the bathroom. But then we were like, oh, we'll just go into this one store over here. And then we kind of drifted. And it took longer than we thought. And then
you had told me that, because I also went to the bathroom, but I went in after your father.
Yes, and I told you to tell my dad that we are going to Vera Bradley.
Yep. And I walked into the bathroom, and your father was nowhere to be found. I thought he was going to...
You should have yelled his name.
I thought he was going to use a urinal, and I could very easily communicate to that to him. He must have been in a stall. I was not in a totally full bathroom going to start peeking under
You didn't have to
stalls.
peek under.
Or
You could have just
yell
said,
out at your father, be like, "They're in Vera Bradley." I figured
could've.
he had already left or something like that, and I had missed him, and he had walked by me. It was a busy day, and the moral of the story is you should have all communicated that to him prior to him going to the bathroom.
We also didn't know this until after. We're in Vera Bradley, we go to a few stores, and we're waiting for him, and he still hasn't come yet. And then we realize that he didn't bring his phone.
And panic ensued.
Oh, I don't think we panicked.
No, you guys are panicking. Stop it right now. You all were panicking that your father was going to be lost and he was going to get angry and he was just going to go back to Pop Century. And I looked at all of you and I said, if I know your father, he knew where we were going to eat. Your father is probably sitting at the bar at the restaurant or at another bar on the way to the restaurant with a drink in hand, sitting happily at the bar waiting for us there. And everybody was like, no, he's lost. This place is so big. We're never going to find him. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And we walked around for a little bit trying to find him. And of course we didn't find him because Disney Springs is big. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. And I said, hey, guys, I'm telling you, we should just go.
And we said, all right, he knows where we're going. We'll go to the restaurant. And we did. And when we walked in.
Where was he?
He was sitting at the bar.
Say that again for everybody to hear.
He was sitting at the bar.
Exactly as I had depicted it.
Drink in hand.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And happy.
Yep. No need to worry about it.
Well, we did.
And regardless, we arrived. The bar that he was sitting at, the restaurant we were going to, was Chef Art Smith's Homecoming.
It was.
Santa? Man, oh man. Let me tell you, Chef Art Smith's Homecoming,
Very
chef's
good.
kiss.
Very
Chef's
good.
kiss. May be one of my favorite restaurants from the trip.
I don't know. I still like Olivia's chicken better.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Olivia's chicken too, but I don't know if I like it better.
I do.
I'd have to have them on the same trip.
Yeah.
I
wanted it
for
after
sure.
that.
Like,
but no, very good.
Confirm that. But Chef Art Smith's was delicious.
Yes.
Everything. The mac and cheese, the mashed potatoes, the smothered chicken. Lordy.
You got the smothered chicken, and I got the fried chicken.
Oh, the smothered chicken. Oh my gosh. With that gravy sauce on it. Oh. The
Stop
cheddar.
turning into Santa.
The cheddar biscuits. Oh.
Oh my gosh. All right.
The sweet tea. Lordy have mercy.
My goodness, calm down over here.
I'm pretty excited about Chef Art Smith's Homecoming.
Let's fan you down.
It was delicious.
It was good.
And it may have been that I had not eaten all day since like breakfast at the airport.
We didn't eat a lot that day.
But whatever it was.
We were real hungry. We were all getting a little hangry too.
I just think it's delicious. It was very good.
No, it was very good. And they were great with all of, I can preface this for the whole trip. Every restaurant we went to was great with our son's allergy and talking to either the chefs or making sure that they like confirm things.
And we'll do an updated video, yeah, because we do videos. We'll do an updated recording, updating, traveling with an allergy and like things to know, things to look for. We discovered a lot of cool things that are very helpful on the app and other things. So we'll do a whole episode on that.
Eat as much the first time we went because I was still breastfeeding and he was on, limited solid foods. It was still baby food and formula and breastfeeding. So we didn't have to worry about, French fries and chicken nuggets for him. Right. He wasn't eating any of that. So this time we had to be, much more cautious with what he had, but it was very cool. They've updated a lot of things with allergies, I think, on the app, and it's very user-friendly and stuff, so it was very, very cool. But yeah, we'll definitely do a whole other thing on that. But they were great. They brought him out his own little mac and cheese. He even requested bacon because he loves bacon. We ended up not getting it on there because I was a little nervous about the tree nut thing, even though he's not allergic to tree nuts. But I didn't want to find out that he was on this trip. We have a tendency to find out that he's allergic to things while not at home and on vacation. So I didn't want that to happen this trip. But yeah, everyone stuff their faces, and
we were all ready to
we
go
were
back to the
so
hotel.
tired.
But first, I bought a new Magic Band.
You did.
I did. I bought a Magic Band Plus because that's all that they have now. So do note that, folks, that the regular old Magic Band, they don't sell them anymore. If you buy a Magic Band, new one, you got to get a Magic Band Plus. All the more reason not to lose your original Magic Band. Although the Magic Band Plus was nice, it's just more expensive, and I didn't feel like I needed it. It was cool, but I don't know. I got a Death Star. Kids, when they're doing... I got a Death Star Magic Band Plus, though. It's very cool.
It is cool.
You've got stormtroopers on it and the Death Star, and it's neat.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I definitely think that it's interactive with a lot of different things, and we can do like a whole other recording of that too, all the stuff that it does. But I don't think as an adult you use it very often for things, so it just seems kind of silly for the adults to have to buy it. I definitely think we can use it more. We just didn't this trip. But I think kids really like it, especially with the interactive games and stuff, inline cues and stuff that you can do with it. So that's really cool. But then we all went to bed.
We did very early.
Exhausted.
I think your father said he was in bed at
5:30. Yeah. It was like as soon as we got back from Disney Springs. It was...
I think we were closer to like 6:30 because our son needed to take a bath and stuff. So
we took a little longer, but I mean, really, as soon as everyone's head hit the pillow, I feel like we were...
Yeah.
Even him, who takes a while to fall asleep.
Our son did take a little nutty and like, I want to go home.
Yeah, I think it was more of the confusion of like, okay, I want to go home now to go to bed, and not like, we're staying here. This is where we're sleeping, and it's okay. So I think it was just more of a confusion, but then,
Bear that in mind with the toddler. They don't really understand what's going on, so the first few nights may be an adjustment.
Yeah, it's
Once
just an adjustment
walked
period.
in, he was in.
Yeah, he was.
But
it was in.
It was a little adjustment to figure out, okay, our room is now our temporary
and we just assured him that, you're going to sleep with us, Mommy will be here the whole time. And he was like, okay. Like, well, okay, we're okay with that. But at first he went to the door, pulling down the handle, like, I want to go home. It's time to leave. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yep.
We're in here for a while. But yeah, that was a nice early night, and it was a good thing because the next day it was going to be a pretty early morning.
It was.
And it didn't go as planned.
No.
At all.
It did not. So the next day was Wednesday, and we had planned to arrive. Again, remember, if you're staying in a Walt Disney World resort, any value, moderate, or deluxe, you can enter all 4 of the theme parks every day a half hour early. They call it early theme park entry. And if you're staying in any of the Disney World resorts...
So not just extra magic hours?
No, they don't call it extra magic hours anymore.
Well, why?
It's early theme park entry. And any of those resorts that you're staying in half hour early, you can get into the park. They're going to scan
and
one
that's
member's...
only if you're at...
Disney resorts.
Disney resorts.
And select other resorts like the Swan and Dolphin and others that apply. They're going to scan one Magic Band. They're going to ask you how many people are in your party. You need that in order to get in to those early hours to ride rides. It was our intent, and we successfully did this, to arrive at 8:30. We had a reservation for breakfast at 8:55. I was hoping that we could get in and maybe bang out 1 or 2 rides in Fantasyland before 8:55 reservation. Wanted to go to Dumbo, and maybe on the way back from Dumbo we could stop and do the Little Mermaid ride, and then we could get over to the Crystal Palace on Main Street for breakfast.
That did not happen.
It did not. Why did it not happen?
It did not happen because half of our family was late.
Yes. This happens.
Okay, but I have to say, you have to
They were staying at a different resort.
Yes. And the Skyliners and buses at Pop Century, Art of Animation, and all the All-Stars, I feel like, early in the morning, especially going to Magic Kingdom, the buses, there's going to be a long line.
Yep.
They assumed that they could get from their hotel to Magic Kingdom in a half an hour.
That was a poor assumption.
No. When they got down to the bus, it was packed, and they had to wait a long time to get on that bus.
If you're staying at a value resort especially, you're going to want to leave yourself 45 minutes to an hour prior to when you want to arrive at the park, just because those buses can be a beast first thing in the morning, or the Skyliner can be a beast first thing in the morning. Because they were late
again on the Skyliner thing one other morning.
And
it's hard to predict. Sometimes you can walk right on in the morning. Other times, you're 10 minutes later than you were the day before, and it's
Right.
a really long line now.
So we spent a lovely half hour in front of the Magic Kingdom, not actually inside of
Watching
the
the
Magic Kingdom,
monorail.
watching the monorail, and our son did love that.
Yes.
He had a great time standing
yeah.
there waiting, just watching the monorail go by. It was his first experience, like,
and naming the colors.
recognizing the monorail, because we have a toy monorail that he plays with here.
No, like,
so, like,
that is
seeing
the
it and being
monorail.
like, the last trip he went on the monorail, but he didn't really know it was going. This time he knew what the monorail was, and he saw it. And he was like, monorail.
That's the monorail. Yeah.
Hi, monorail. Like,
hi, people.
It was very cool to see.
Well,
Anyways.
they finally got there.
And it was time for our
we had to go right to our dining reservation.
So my intent of getting in early and getting some rides done before...
That did not happen.
But listen, you're
It's
still
okay.
on vacation. These things happen. You roll with it, and you just adapt, and plans change. We went to the Crystal Palace.
Characters.
And perhaps the one thing I regret most about the decisions that we made on this trip was to book a character meal for a toddler on the first day.
thing.
And have it be characters that he doesn't really know. I thought, Magic Kingdom, it'll be a great way to start our first day. Have a nice breakfast. He'll get to see Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Eeyore.
He's
and
like, who's
Piglet,
that?
And it'll be great. And he knows who they are, but it's a very tangential knowledge of them. Like, he doesn't always watch them.
Yeah.
And, like, he's not, like, obsessed
Very sporadic
with them.
watching them, yeah.
And he was sitting at a table, and his back was to the characters, and Tigger snuck up on him, and Tigger was the first character in his big neon orange, and he kind of turned around, and Tigger was there, and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, he screamed.
Yeah.
Poor kid. And then I couldn't get him out of the high chair because he was wiggling and trying to get out, and he was working against me trying to get
his
him
foot
out.
was stuck.
And, not the best character experience. He then wanted to leave the building. He did not want to finish eating. He was done. He said, I want to leave. And that's literally his exact words, where I want to leave. He couldn't even eat. Every time he sat down, he was looking over his shoulder, trying to make sure nothing and no one was coming towards him without him knowing about it. Of course, that made me very upset as a parent, because he was so scared and didn't want to stay. And that was besides, I was upset not only because, you want them to be happy when you see characters and, oh no, is this how every character meeting is going to go? And we have, 2 other character reservations. I'm like, was this, we have not done that. But just the fact that he was so scared broke my heart. Like, he really just wanted to leave. And I just remember that fear as a kid. Just think you're a kid like any kid. And I don't know, something really scares you. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time that you're seeing something. Oh, my heart broke for him because he really just wanted to get out of there. It wasn't just like a tantrum. It was like, I'm scared. I want you to hold me and take me out of here.
Yeah.
Luckily,
it was bad play doing it first. I
but
fully
luckily,
recognize
it does get better.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yes, it does get better though, as the trip goes on.
Don't do it the first day.
Yeah.
And don't do it with characters they're not familiar with.
Yeah. But
me and him ran around on the hub grass though for a while outside while we
saw
waited
the
for everybody
ducks
else
and the baby
to finish.
ducks, and Mark and I took turns staying outside and not going back into the Crystal Palace.
And this is not a knock on the Crystal Palace. No. I thoroughly enjoyed the breakfast. I thought it was great. It was just, it just didn't work out with.
And it wasn't the character's fault either. It was just his placement. It was just the perfect storm.
Yep.
It was the perfect storm, and
Tigger felt very bad about it.
Yes. He felt really bad. I would too if I.
And then Eeyore came, and Eeyore was not.
No. It wasn't any better.
Nope.
Even though he was smaller and.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Still just, it was a no.
After that.
It's a great start to the morning.
Yeah. After that.
We're doing really well.
We walked over into Adventureland. I wanted to hopefully get a few rides done in Adventureland.
Yeah.
At that point, though, it was already 10 o'clock. The park was starting to get busier.
Yeah.
And I could just see the writing on the wall. We had missed our window to really effectively get a bunch of stuff done before things got busy. I also think this falls
into you wanted an earlier breakfast time.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah.
So it was a later breakfast than we would have wanted to in order to get out and then be able to do things more efficiently.
Yeah.
So that already set us back into that window of time, pushing us back into everyone, like you said, was already in the parks, even, people and all of the resorts for those extended morning hours. So
we waited about 15 minutes for Aladdin, which was not horrible, but usually you should be able to walk right on that, and we couldn't. So that was a good sign to me that this isn't going to be good. And then we had a slight disagreement over what to do next. At that point, I was ready to just head back.
Yeah.
Because it was clear that without a lightning lane, we were not going to achieve anything else that morning. We had missed our window to be highly productive, and the lines were already starting to get long, and I knew that we were going to wait too long for a ride that we didn't really need to do, that we could walk on at another time. Your sister really wanted to do Little Mermaid. We ended up doing Little Mermaid, and we waited far too long for it. We waited like 35 minutes for it, and you should never wait 35 minutes for Little Mermaid, because most of the time you can walk on that ride in less than 10 minutes. But
at that time, that was the shortest wait for a ride that he could do. That we were going to do Dumbo, but the play place is under refurbishment right now, so there was no indoor space. If you don't know, that during the line queue, they give you like a pager thing, and they'll call you when it's your time to ride. So you don't really have to wait in line. You can just play in like the indoor playground thing that they have. That was not available. So we were like, yeah, no, we're not standing out in the sun / not in a building. So Ariel was the next best thing.
And this was a day that I thought we were going to get there early. We could get in early.
That we'd already have done
that
2
we
rides.
could get stuff done, that we didn't need lightning lane. And because the whole thing kind of fell apart early on, then later I wished that I had got Lightning Lane for Magic Kingdom that morning, because we could have got a lot more done if we had the Lightning Lane. But again, I didn't think that we needed it, because I thought we were going to get in early and bang a whole bunch of stuff out early before the reservation, and then have a chance after the reservation to get 1 or 2 rides done and then get back. And none of that panned out, so we ended up waiting too long for Aladdin. He thoroughly enjoyed Aladdin, though.
He did. And he liked Little Mermaid, too, I think. Ursula didn't scare him.
No.
But Tigger did.
Yeah.
It became an ongoing joke throughout the trip, that things that we thought would scare him, it didn't. And things that should have been fun, characters, scared him.
Yeah.
So.
Very odd. As we were walking out of the park at that point, Rachel really wanted one of her drinks from Starbucks. And we were heading out. I'm like, okay, we're done here. Like, we've waited too long. Things are not going to get better. It's best to just head back to the hotel. Maybe we can go in the pool, relax, whatever. Some people were still tired. Mm-hmm. We started walking down Main Street, though.
Yeah, I went and got my drink. I said, I'll catch up to you.
She had to get her drink.
I said, I'll catch up with you.
And we were waiting at the end of Main Street in front of the town square. And wouldn't you know it, the music started to play. It was time for the first Festival of Fantasy parade. And Rachel came walking up, but the parade was coming down Main Street, and I'm like, well, at this point, we might as well just stay and watch it.
Yeah.
Why not?
He asked me to go around the corner, see how far up Main Street it was. If it was all the way at the castle, maybe not wait that long. But it was literally going to be coming around the corner when I ran back in and told you guys.
Yeah.
So we stayed.
We did. And he liked it. He wanted to view from a distance.
Yes.
I had to, like, go up onto the porch near Tony's
Didn't
Town
want to
Square.
be, like, on the street.
But he liked it. He liked seeing them. He was happy. We have videos of this too. Like, he was genuinely like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was a better experience with the characters.
Yeah. He's like, look, it's Donald Duck and it's Pluto and it's... Yeah. He didn't know most of the princesses.
Dragon scared him a little bit, but...
I mean, that dragon's a lot, so...
He thought the fire was cool, though. Like, seeing the dragon scared him, but when the dragon breathed fire, he was like, ooh. Like,
should have enhanced the scary, and it didn't. It made it cooler.
No sense whatsoever. But after that, we called it. Headed back to the hotel. Our son did not sleep. That was a mistake.
There's a lot of mistakes this first day.
Some people did sleep, though. And then, after a short break, because we got back kind of late after the Festival of the Fantasy, and then we needed to be in Epcot by 3:20 for the end of our Guardians of the Galaxy Lightning Lane. So we ended up having to rush in, and then our son would not let both of us go, so I stayed behind with him and my parents, and we ate graham crackers while Rachel and her sister and mother and father went on Guardians. We were going to do a rider swap kind of deal, and then my father and I were going to go on. That didn't pan out because
I still don't really know why. You could have just went.
But it took a long time for you all to get on Guardians.
It was a longer lightning lane
line was long. Took a long time for you to get on. I had expelled every ounce of like occupying him with graham crackers and other things, and looking
the monorail.
At some of the topiaries because again it was Flower and Garden Festival. So
I know, but you guys could have went. We could have went back. We could have like walked around.
It just wasn't worth it. We needed to do something with him. So I'm like, we have another lightning lane later in the trip. My father and I will just ride it then. And so we walked across and we went over to Nemo. And there we waited far longer than we ever should have for Nemo, too.
Yes.
That's the general theme of this day.
Yeah.
Nemo, you should walk on it pretty quickly, 5-10 minutes.
I don't know why. It was
we did
so
twice
busy that
after that.
Yeah.
Twice after that, we walked on to Nemo within 10 minutes of
it was just that day.
entering. It was just that day.
I don't know what it was about
but
Wednesday.
We ended up waiting 30 minutes. Far too long of a wait for that. We went on, then we did some looking at the fish and the manatees and all that stuff, and he loved that. That was great. Then we did turtle talk, and he was interested in that. Mm-hmm. Pretty interested in that. And then we went across, and it was time for dinner. Everybody was starting to get hungry, and we ended up going to the Connections Eatery. First time we had ever eaten there. Very impressed with that quick service.
I would have went there again.
A quick service restaurant, like it was a strong option. I had a chicken sandwich. It was very good.
I had a really good burger.
For quick service, this is a good place. Again, this is in the newer building to the left. It's in the back side. The front side is the Starbucks. The back side is the restaurant part. Mm-hmm. And I thought this was a solid quick service option.
It really was. It was really good. Of course, adding more good things to a place with already really good food.
Right. Very frustrating. Animal Kingdom and Epcot is so frustrating because there's so many good options.
So many.
And the Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, it's like, can we get some of those good options here? Like,
please,
more here, less
spread
there.
It out a little bit.
Regardless. This was a moment, though, had his first, like, official breakdown in the Connections Eatery.
And it was because I walked away from the table.
Yep. We were doing good. He was eating
that's it. That's all that happened. I got
nuggies.
Up. He was, when I got up from the table, he was fine. When I left the table to go get, I don't know if it was a spoon or...
It was something.
It was just something very quick. I came back very quick. No, he was already... It was basically, he was a ticking time bomb. He just needed something to set him off, and that was it. It was going to be something very small and something very silly, and that was it. He just did not want me to get up.
This is what happens when we don't take a nap. I think those are the exact words out of my mouth.
Yep. He's tired. He was tired, and he was ready to launch.
Yes. And he was having other issues, poop issues. Had not pooped at that point for several days, like 5 or 6 days at that point. Another regret we'll talk about in a moment here when we talk about the next day, because we should have done that earlier. But anyways, he was having trouble with his poops. He was tired, not good, breakdown. We called it quits that day. We were like, even though it was early still, it's the first day, best to regroup, head back to the hotel, have an early night, hit it again the next morning.
Yep.
And so the next morning, Thursday morning, we headed on over to Hollywood Studios. This morning, again, your parents ran into some trouble with the Skyliner. We're a little bit later than expected, but not horribly late.
It was not as late as Magic Kingdom. No, it was just a few minutes behind.
But we did do early arrival again, so we got there for 8:30. Park was supposed to open at 9, and we went and we did Mickey and Minnie's, and that wait was not that long. We got on that ride in like 20 minutes.
It really wasn't that bad. Yeah. And most of it inside, so it was a good wait as far as that goes. And everyone was there, so everyone kind of took turns, entertaining / holding our son, which is nice. But he really liked that ride.
He did. That was definitely a winner. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. It's like perfect for kids that age.
Yep.
It's like a kid that age made it.
Yeah.
Like it's so all over the place, and like so much stuff is happening all at once that it's like the attention span of a 4-year-old.
The only thing I don't think he really liked was the city scene. With like the jackhammer sound.
Yeah.
And like that thing, that was a little much. I think he was kind of like, whoa, what is happening? But you also have to take into consideration too, he adjusted to sleeping in a hotel, but he's also just adjusting to how much stuff is going on.
Yeah.
If you think about what's in our daily life schedule did not include this early of a wake up time, going right outside, going right onto like something that's all in your face with different colors and sounds and everything.
Early in the trip, you could definitely tell that he was a little overwhelmed by
it
a
was
lot
just
of the experiences.
Getting used to it. Yeah. So I do think that if we had circled back to Minnie and Minnie's at some point, I think he probably would have.
Minnie and Minnie's?
Sorry, I'm still recuperating from the trip myself. If we had circled back and done Mickey and Minnie's again, which we did do with some of the other rides that were a little easier to walk on, he liked them better the second, third time around.
Yeah. These 2 first days, though, were definitely an adjustment period in more ways than one. It was very overwhelming for him, I think, at first, but once he got in the groove, he was all about it by the end of the trip. Yeah, he knew it.
He was like, our room, go back to our room. He knew it was an option to go back, too, which was really nice, because now that he's getting more verbal and he can tell you exactly what he needs when you ask. He kind of told you midday that, that 10, 11 o'clock, like, okay, go back my room. You're like, all right, I'll take a nap, he says. Okay, let's go take a nap. Or just rest. Sometimes he didn't nap, quote unquote, but we just laid in bed. We watched some cartoons. Like, maybe not sleep, but
chilled out.
Yeah. So which was good.
After that, we got a coffee, and what a time kill this was. Again, another rookie mistake. We waited in those super long lines in the early morning to get a coffee and a little snack, and it killed us on time. And by the time the coffee was done, by the time the coffee was done, things that were at wait times of 10, 15 minutes were then at 30 plus minutes.
What do you mean? We went on Toy Story Mania.
We did not at that point. No, we did not.
Oh, you're right.
After that, the wait times were long, and I said, well, let's go do a show.
Disney Junior.
We did the Disney Junior live on stage show, and man, oh man, did the kid have a great time with that.
He loved it. He liked that the characters were away.
Yep. It's a dance party with characters.
Disney Junior ones. He didn't know all of them.
Doc McStuffins, Vampirina, Timon, and Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And they come out on stage, they do a little dance with the kids, and then they leave. And it's like a 15-minute show. It's very quick, but he loved every minute. He danced through like the whole thing. He was having the time of his life.
And he was around the other kids, and they were all doing the dance moves. And we have a great video of him playing an air guitar, which he never would have done before, but because everyone was kind of doing it, he copied them, and it was super cute, and he really enjoyed it. And then he just got right in his stroller and said, all right.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yep. And he was ready for a nap.
He was ready for a nap.
And he fell asleep in the stroller, which was very nice. Your parents ended up sitting with him. And while he was sleeping and your parents were sitting with him, the rest of us went and saw Muppet Vision 3D.
One last time. One of the few rides that we did this time that we knew were going away. Shows, attractions that we know are going away, so we wanted to make sure that we did it one last time, and we did. No more Muppet fun, at least in the Muppets Courtyard, soon to be Monstropolis. There will be more Muppet fun, though, coming. There will be.
Soon to Rock and Roller Coaster, which is being rethemed.
I really hope they focus on Animal.
Can't wait. I'm sure they will.
You have to.
It's still rock and roll themed.
I know, but I'm just saying,
who else is going to play the drums besides Animal, man?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, he's just...
After that, our son did wake up, and he woke up at the perfect time, because Toy Story Mania had gone down, there was temporary closure, they were having ride issues, and we were going to maybe wait to see Woody and Jessie, because he was pretty excited to see them from a distance, but as I was walking by Toy Story Mania, I saw that the line had just reopened. And I was like, this is perfect. So I ran over. I got everybody else. I'm like, hey, guys, the line just reopened. If you want to hit some of those big rides right after a closure, if you time it just right, sometimes it can be a time kill to stand there and wait. But I had just timed. I was walking literally by it as they were opening the line up. We walked right on the ride.
And we were right next door. We were right where Woody and Jessie do their little meet and greet. Yeah. So we were right under some of those umbrellas right there. So Mark just quickly kind of ran over and said, hey,
totally unintentional, but like the line had just opened, and we went right in.
We walked on.
We did the ride. Our son loved it. He even tried to play a little bit. He was grabbing my little gun and pulling the little rope.
Yeah,
there.
he wanted to be in on the action. He wanted to be
in on it.
He wore the glasses, which was interesting. He actually wore them, so he didn't seem, upset by any 3D things or like the air coming at sometimes things come at you. That was really fun. I got the high score.
Then after that, because I was being detained by watching our son, and he was playing with my gun, so it. Yeah. I want to point out, I still came in second place, even though I was heavily handicapped, and probably going to come in a lot more if I was not handicapped by.
Can you just let me have this win?
No. Next, we had, for our lunch reservation, Roundup Rodeo. So, we're already in Toy Story land. We headed right on over for a 12:55 reservation, a little bit later than I would have liked. If it had been a little bit earlier, I think it might have been a little bit better. But we went to Roundup Rodeo. We had a decent meal there. It's a very cool experience. We'll do a restaurant review of all the restaurants that we ate at and update some of the ones that we've already done, maybe, if we need to. But
no, I still love Yak and Yeti. My vote still stands.
Yeah, Yak and Yeti I don't think we needed to redo because Yak and Yeti's still amazing. But we will do a Roundup Rodeo barbecue review. The theming here is awesome. Yeah. And I think he really enjoyed,
the character. Well, he really likes Toy Story right now. So, with all the characters everywhere, he was pointing and telling us to look at things and just really in awe.
And then Woody walks in and everybody has to freeze. I think he kind of... Andy, sorry. Andy walks in. Andy walks in and everybody has to freeze, and I think he kind of liked that. Everybody in the restaurant stops and, it was very cool.
And he listened. He liked the voices that came over the intercom. Your favorite characters.
The food was decent. It was nothing to write home about. It's not the best barbecue that I've had in Walt Disney World.
I don't think
but it was a solid option.
People. Okay, well, I think when it first opened, I think it was the worst. I think people had a very different.
Maybe
when it first opened, people were very hard on it.
I think some people were too critical.
But it has changed since its first opening, as far as menu items and that kind of stuff. So
this is a solid option for the experience. Yeah, because the food is.
The mac and cheese was really good. The street corn was really good.
The tots were good too.
The tots.
That salad.
Oh my gosh!
Before the cucumber salad, delicious.
Whatever dressing was on that.
Good watermelon. Good. There were very good parts of this meal. The ribs were not good though. And that was disappointing to me. That some of the meats for a barbecue place.
Yeah. It's all the sides were really good.
The meat.
But the main course was just not that good.
That was the frustrating thing. Yeah. Was that
because everything else was so
decent, but it wasn't great brisket. All the sides.
Yeah, the brisket was good.
The desserts, the cheddar appetizers, the cheddar biscuits, the sides were all delicious. Yeah. It was the meats that were the main course that were
the cupcakes. They were
and this
really
is
good.
a barbecue. That's what needs to shine, and everything else shined.
If they just take Regal Eagle stuff and put it in there,
sure.
Either
or
the same
Whispering
recipe
Canyons.
or whatever it is. Literally any other barbecue place.
Ribs.
Take whatever they're making and also make it there.
Yes.
I don't know why it's different.
Yeah.
You're already making it one place. Just bring it somewhere else.
It was slightly disappointing that a barbecue place, the meats were the thing that were the lowest on the list, and everything else was really good.
Yeah.
Talk to the Whispering Canyon chef. Get some of those ribs in there. Make it a better experience.
Make it work. Make it happen.
And then I'll be totally on board. After that, we returned to the hotel. We were going to take a little bit of a break. Our son had already taken a pretty substantial nap, though, in the morning.
It was a few hours, yeah.
And we got back to the hotel, and he made it pretty clear to us that he was rip-raring to go.
Yeah, he was not going to sleep. We tried to just relax.
Napping. He was not watching cartoons. Sit down. Nope. He wanted to go back. He's like, outside. I go out. He wanted to get back out and do something. And our plan was to go to Animal Kingdom, and we're like, well, you know what? It's already 3-4 o'clock anyways.
And it closes at 7.
Animal Kingdom closes at 7, so we might as well go. And so we hopped on the bus. We got there. There was only a 10-minute wait for the safari, maybe that. We hopped right on the safari. He loved the safari.
We did not get to see elephants.
No, neither of the safaris that we did.
They were way in the back.
Yeah.
So our son couldn't see them because it was hard for him to pinpoint where they were. But you could kind of see them if you were an adult and looked in the right spot. But he saw the other things. He liked the giraffes, and he liked the water buffalo. Or no. Yeah, no. Wildebeest. Water buffalo comes later when he says that. And the cows and the cattle and stuff. So there was a lot that he could see. The rhinos were a really big hit. The hippos too. So a lot of stuff to see. He just specifically asked for the elephants.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they were just not really liking to be out and about right now. But we got off.
Yep.
And we were like, let's try one more time. Because my parents had just gotten there. They met us there. And we hopped right back on it again.
We did.
Another walk on.
2 in a row.
So 2 in a row. Kilimanjaro safaris. Still no elephants. Very sad.
But the lions are very active on the second
one. The lions were active on the second one. So, I mean, if you can do it, you know, in 2 in a row and you don't get to see something right away, they're always moving, always doing something else. So every ride is different, even if they're back to back. So try it again. If there's a low wait time, you know, if you have time to do it twice.
For sure.
And then we went over to Pandora.
Yes, for some dinner at Satuli Canteen.
Yep.
And we had another breakdown.
We did not want to sit.
Nope.
We didn't want to do anything.
We didn't want to do anything.
We just want to go.
He wanted crackers, and we did not have
his
particular type of crackers. Let this be a lesson to everybody. If there is something that your kid needs to eat, you bring it with you no matter whether they have it in Florida or not. Like, he can only eat a certain type of cracker, Townhouse crackers, the originals. They didn't have it at Garden Grocer. I didn't think that was going to be the end of the world.
They didn't have it on Amazon. It was the end of the world.
We ended up having to have friends who live down there bring them to us. Thank you so much to those friends, because they saved the rest of the trip.
They really did.
He
got his crackers.
But he did not want to eat anything else, and he was just full on in breakdown mode. Again, I think he was tired. And
he needed to go to the bathroom.
At that point, I think 7 days. Yeah. And it was in that moment.
We were at the point of
in Pandora.
A suppository anyway. But
I looked at Rachel and I said,
tonight is the night.
Tonight we're going back right now. Even though the park's not closed yet, we were going to maybe do Flight of Passage. I would have loved to do Flight of Passage that night. We didn't do
River Journey?
We did the next day.
Oh, the next day.
We were maybe going to do Flight of Passage. I would have loved to do it, but it just was not going to happen. It wasn't in the cards.
Nope.
I'm like, we need to go back and give this kid a suppository and get things moving. And we did.
And we did.
And we got things moving.
And things were moving.
Yes.
And then things moved for the next 3 days.
We needed to get new sheets from house service.
Okay.
Housekeeping. Too much information.
Yeah.
But
oops.
It got things moving for him, and
he was in such better spirits.
Regular and in much better spirits
for
after
the rest
that.
Of the trip.
And I said, gosh darn it, we should have done this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And not waited.
We should have done it before we left.
Yeah.
Honestly. But it wasn't, he can go that 2 or 3 days, you know, without it, and he was already at that. But by the time we had a few days in Disney, we were already at that 6-7 day mark, and we were like, you know what?
We waited far too long.
We can't keep waiting like we would at home, you know, with Miralax and all that fun stuff. But here we go. You know, breakdowns happen. And then we were better. We were better for the rest of the trip. We had a much better attitude.
Yep.
No more breakdowns.
And he started to adjust to what was happening, and it was a much more positive experience after that.
Yep. Even the characters had a more positive experience.
What did we do the next day? Well, you're going to have to wait until next week to find out, because we're already at an hour, which is much longer than we normally would do for episodes. But what happened on the rest of the trip? Heck, this might be a 3-part episode at this point, the way that we're going.
It was a long trip, and we did a lot more because, we focused on him, obviously, but he could do a lot more. So
he could.
We have a lot more information and a lot more little hang-ups and stuff that we learned along the way than the last trip, which was basically just as adults doing whatever we wanted because he couldn't really do anything. Right. So, yeah. Next time,
more to come. As always, folks, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send us an email at startswithawish.podcast@gmail.com. Follow us on our social media accounts, and believe it or not, this podcast is now on YouTube.
Woohoo!
You still don't get to see our smiling faces, but you can listen to the podcast on YouTube. Sound quality diminishes slightly with YouTube than it does on your other podcasting apps, but it is available there if that's an easier way for you to listen to us. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube, and feel free to comment on the videos on YouTube as well. And as always, folks, remember, it all starts...
So fancy.
We are. And now I'm going to have to redo my conclusion. Remember, folks, it all starts with a wish. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.